Klugunk Yuhut Duasak, Chukinsha Ayahat. My name is Renee Culp, or Klugunk. I am a Chukinadi, Chukinsha from Glacier Bay via Huna. This photo is a sunset at Tea Harbor, looking out at the Chilkat Mountains. I currently live and work in Juneau, Alaska. I'm a community clinical psychologist with almost 30 years working in the social services field, currently employed with our local tribe, Tlingit and Haida, as a program coordinator of the Navigators, a culturally responsive program addressing the challenges our people face as survivors of generational and historical trauma. Itu ye yatee, it is within you. Generational trauma and generational resilience. Becoming trauma informed, you may now be quite familiar with generational trauma and historical trauma. A newer concept that is now being explored within individuals who experience generational and historical trauma is generational resilience. It must be that for me to survive, even thrive beyond these traumas, I also hold generational resilience deep within me. One day, I was speaking with a white colleague of mine, sharing yet another loss in my family. She was surprised as I recalled I had just been dealing with a tragic loss. In confirming her memory, she was indeed correct. She asked, "How are you still functioning? If I had two significant losses back to back, I'd be in a puddle, in bed, curtains closed, lights out, bawling, unable to function." At the time, I was unsure how to answer her, as compounded grief and trauma are our reality as Native people all the time. I simply responded with, "Because we have no choice. If we do not carry on, more pain and suffering will follow." After much consideration of this question, I now know how to answer. The Tlingit saying, "Itu ye yatee, it is within you." Indigenous peoples experience intense traumas of all kinds. These experiences live within every cell of our body. The gifts I have been given by my ancestors since time immemorial is that I also hold resilience and strength in every cell of my body. This is how I carry on. The concept of generational trauma was so powerful for me. Within its very DNA, a tree holds the strength to bend with the wind, but not break with the storm. The roots ground it. Its goal is to grow and reach for the sky. It renews and grows stronger every year. Trees, in my opinion, are the picture of resilience. Within my own family line, I know fierce resilience. It is deep within my DNA. As my grandmother grew up, she learned to speak Tlingit. Though her father encouraged the English tongue and way of life, my grandmother, Esther Clark, continued to display the strength of resilience that lives within us as the youngest sibling. She was protected throughout her childhood. Unfortunately, she was orphaned early in life. Her mother died of rheumatoid arthritis when my grandmother Esther was still a young child. Living with her father, my grandmother was permitted to stay home rather than attending the boarding schools. But before Esther was a teenager, her father passed away. She was left in the care of her aunts and uncles. My grandmother described this time in her life as painful and dark. As her family struggled to care for my grandmother, she left Sitka for Juneau and began working for the governor at age 14. My grandmother married 3 times, yet in my memory, I only recall her as a strong, independent, beautiful, fierce Tlingit woman. She endured gross discrimination, assimilation, abuse, and produced 3 beautiful children. Individuals who have been traumatized not only learn to call upon our resilience, but we also learn to navigate a world that has been harsh and hurtful. The story of my grandma is one that is quite common with Native people. One day I was visiting her at the nursing home here in Juneau at Wildflower, and I had went to pick her up for an outing. These outings were very important to my grandmother. The nurse was having a hard time getting her equipment together, and my grandmother snapped at the nurse and made a pretty intense comment about her inabilities as a woman, and asked for men to come and help. My grandma saw that this upset me quite a bit, and then she apologized to me, and she took the time to tell me the story of her life, oppression that she experienced, things that she had to live through that is such horror. She identified that she doesn't have to live like that anymore. It was inappropriate behavior for the incident as I was thinking about my grandma and her behavior towards that nurse. But I suddenly understood my grandmother in a different way because I listened to her story and understood her trauma. Consider these examples. A student who maybe takes advantage of the resources and free things, maybe takes more than their share, always looking for the next thing to take home or get. You may find extra supplies in this student's desk or backpack, or even go as far as taking others' belongings. Reframe this behavior. Could this student have learned to be resourceful to meet their needs? Is it possible this student has so few resources in their life they had learned how to gain the resources they need? Could this behavior be a method of resilience? A student who is difficult to reach, does not make friends easy, and may generally be unpleasant to be around. Let's reframe this behavior. Is it possible that this youth has been hurt so many times this behavior is protective actions? Could it be that this youth really wants to make connection but continues to be hurt by those they allow to get near? What is motivating this unpleasant behavior? The student who's a class clown. This student is very disruptive, distracts others, takes away from important teaching or programming time, and generally messes around all the time. Let's reframe this behavior. What may be going on at home that creates the need in this human to have constant distraction in their life? What might be happening in this student's life that is creating the need for this level of attention? What does this youth need? Reframing our viewpoint of our students' responses to trauma. Laughter during death is not inappropriate. It's a method of healthy coping through grief. Withdrawing from social situations when being bullied is not antisocial. It's self-protection. Consider the reason for the behavior. The motivation behind the action will help you reframe what appears to be undesirable actions as understandable methods of coping. My experience living with generational trauma has been one of learning. And throughout my last 5 or 10 years of exploring what this generational trauma really looks like, I've really been able to identify in myself when my generational trauma gene is being triggered. I can feel it. I can feel it inside every cell of my being, and I can see it coming. I have found that during these times I snap, and if I don't watch for these moments that build me up to this moment of snapping when my generational trauma gene is being triggered, then I get myself into trouble. But in learning about what this looks like and learning about generational trauma, I have realized that I can feel the generational trauma. I can't always control the trauma responses, but it's the resilience that helps me along the way. It's my internal resilience. And so, what I'd like to do is to just give you some suggestions on how you might be able to explore looking at generational resilience within your students. What can you do right now when we're done with this video? I have a video here. So first, watch this 6 minute, 16 seconds. Honestly, it's that short. Video on generational trauma. It's the epigenetics of trauma. 2, find ways to reflect, enhance, and teach resilience within your youth. The program that I work with, Navigators Program, we have a saying: the navigators sail the 7 seas of resilience. And to help you begin sailing those 7 seas, check out the link that I have here on fostering resilience. The last thing that I encourage you to do is to really start to reframe your thinking. Explore a habitual behavior that you notice within one of your students. What is that behavior? And in what ways might this behavior be protecting this student? And I'd like to note, not all behaviors are resilient responses resulting from trauma, but understanding the behavior, the student, and their situation will really help you begin to see how their behaviors are resilience in actions and which behaviors are otherwise. Ganesh for having me here today.